Some people start firms from scratch, others buy them with almost no money down. Today's guest didn't grow up in the accounting industry. He failed at 4 businesses, walked away from a marketing agency, and had 0 credentials when he tried calling firm owners. Most wouldn't even take his call. Fast forward just 1 year, and he's a licensed EA, a firm owner, and a walking case study in one of the smartest business moves you've ever made. Buying a profitable firm with little to no cash up front. We talk about how he broke into the most gate-kept industries in the US, why AI and automation are non-negotiables for the next generation of firm owners, and how a single Ben Kelly video changed the trajectory of his life. This is about rejection, reinvention, and results. From failed startups to firm acquisition, from zero to EA, from cold calls to closing deals. Today on CFO Chronicles, we sit down with Nik Watson, CEO of Cloud Accounting Group. Nik, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
This is going to be great. I'm so excited to hear more about your story for our listeners to hear. When we were chatting about a week or two ago, and you were telling me you actually came from a background in marketing and you bought a firm with little to no money down, and that's the path you're going on. It's a path I want to go on, expanding and buying a firm. So I'm so interested to hear how you did this, and just I'm so pumped to see all the success that is yet to come. But I want to start off right out of the gate. What's the one belief holding most firm owners back, especially the ones coming from outside the industry?
That, I guess, taking action is the only thing that should be on your mind. Like, people get so caught up in, ooh, should I do this? Should I not? I had zero experience coming into this industry. Zero. I was from the marketing industry. And so I just thought, what's recession resistant? What has sticky clients? Death and taxes are the two things that are very certain in life. And I just go back to that quote. And so just taking action, like a decision is better than no decision. And so I always harp on that, and I always emphasize that to people wanting to learn about this industry. And it's just, you just dive deep head first, and you learn as you go. I learned so many things 3 months in, 6 months in, 9 months in, and I'm still learning. So I would say a decision.
So cool. Yeah. I love that it just starts with taking action. I think that's what holds back so many people. It's the waiting for the perfect moment.
Yes.
I need to be an expert. Someone else is already doing this better than me, and they don't do it. But you were like, no, I'm just going to take action. And I love that you did that. You were running a marketing agency before, then your partner showed you a video from Ben Kelly. Everything changed. What was it about that moment that hit different for you?
Yeah, I think I had never known that you can buy a business for, say it's a $600,000 business, you can buy it for 60 grand, and it could be cash flowing 200 grand. Me personally, you don't even have to put down the money. You can have an investor put down the money, and then you could be cash flowing, 150 to 100. So just that thought in of itself, it's like you always think of, tech startups, AI apps, starting a business. I have to start a business to be an entrepreneur. You don't have to. You can buy a business that's already cash flowing, that already has employees, that already has processes and SOPs and all of that stuff. So if you're more of a 1 to 100 guy rather than a 0 to 1 guy, then this is definitely the path for you.
Love it. How long were you playing around with the idea of like, can I actually do this? Like, is this my path? Because I'm guessing, I mean, if you're working for marketing, you were running a marketing company before, did this feel like it was out of left field, or were you always thinking, yeah, this is what I want to do? Like, what was that when you saw the video, you were like, 100% I'm doing this?
Yeah, I think it started with because COVID had happened, 2 to 3 years prior. And I was thinking, like, what if something like that happens again, a recession, and my marketing agency wouldn't survive. So I was like, okay, what can, stand the test of time? And I just started researching. And I eventually landed on accounting firms. I didn't land on it at first. I spent 2 to 3 months, going to HVAC, going to landscaping, like gutter cleaning, just all these boring businesses. and I eventually landed on accounting firms just
Or
because
the
of
the
the
the wildly exciting business.
yeah, yeah. But I majored in business management. I've always been a business guy myself. I wanted something that was service based. I realized towards the end, so that's the progression of how I landed on accounting firms. But I wanted something that was very recession resistant. I think that was the biggest point I was after.
So you're a handful of months in now with an accounting firm. What's the biggest difference that you're noticing from running a marketing agency to now being inside of an accounting firm?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think just the sheer amount of clients with a marketing agency, we didn't have too many clients. We had more, high ticket things of that nature. But just the sheer amount of clients and I guess managing the employees and things like that, that's just been a big learning, I guess. And the nitty gritty of the accounting world is very unique, and so you have to know what you're talking about when you do talk to clients and when you talk to your employees. I'm going back, listening to all of the sales recordings, all of the sales calls, just to up my learning that much more. So getting that EA license was definitely a big plus for my employees, my clients, the old seller selling to me. So that was all very good.
What was the talk to me about when this officially happened? Like pen went to paper, the funds were secured. You now own this accounting firm.
Yeah, it was actually Halloween night, so I didn't know whether I was gonna be, going to a Halloween party or just staying in my room and just, looking at the forms and the legal documents and the money being wired. So it happened that night, the Halloween night.
And what was that feeling that I'm guessing there was probably an overwhelm of a certain emotion. I would love to hear what that was like, because buying a firm, especially if it's the first one you're acquiring, purchasing, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah,
So
I
I
think
would
it
love to
was.
hear what that was like from your side.
Yeah, I think it was more relief than anything. It's like, okay, I can finally breathe now because this journey has taken, I would say, 10 to 11 months of just, searching and grinding and trying to find a firm that is profitable and does want to sell to me and things of that nature. I just think relief at the end of the day was just a big weight lifted off my shoulders. And passing that EA exam, that last EA exam, was another relief off my shoulders because I was studying 6 to 8 hours a day for, I don't know, 5 to 6 months. So I was really in the trenches there and just studying my butt off. And passing that EA exam was another relief off my shoulders. So two things went right in the span of about a week, and I was like, wow, the fruits of my labor have come to fruition. So
That's cool. What services were you working with your marketing company? Is that still active?
no, so it's totally closed down. We had about 2 to 3 employees that I managed. It was pretty small. We did funnels and we did copywriting, and we mostly did emails for like big e-commerce brands and personal brands online. So yeah.
Interesting. And so now going into the accounting world, when you finally decided, all right, an accounting firm is where I want to go. What was your, I guess, criteria, or how did you end up landing on this firm? And how many firms did you look at or interview or walk through that process? You're like, okay, we got a winner now. This is the one.
Yeah. So I probably looked at meaning their financials. I would say like 400 to 500 over that period of time, maybe
Wow. Okay.
more, maybe less. But I sent out 5 to 6 LOIs, and all of them got rejected except for the last one. And so I was in the running for those 5 and 6 LOIs down to the last 2 or 3, and then they told me that we're going with this other guy who has 2 firms under his belt, who's an EA or a CPA, and it's just like yeah, like that's the choice. Like they should do that, and they shouldn't pick like a newbie like me coming into this industry with then no EA license, no experience, no firm under his belt. um, yeah, 5 to 6 LOIs, and then this one ended up working out.
That's so cool. So, I mean, you didn't come from a background in accounting, you didn't have a license. You said no one would take your call at first. What finally helped you break through the gatekeeping and have that offer accepted?
Yeah, I had a conversation with a lender actually. He was giving me some real talk. Um, he said to go get my EA license or go work in the industry for 2 years. I didn't want to do the 2 years working in the industry because that would have taken up, a lot of time. But I did get my EA license, and I think what changed on that one call was I brought a very personalized pitch deck. So before I didn't bring anything to the call, anything personalized at all. So that last one, for some reason, I just got a feeling of like, okay, like this could be the one, and maybe I should do something extra. So I threw together a very detailed pitch deck of the goals and what I could bring to the table. I think that's very important. Like what you can bring to the table for the owner and have them visualize that is super, super important. And just having concrete numbers of what you want to achieve in the first year, in the first 3 years, in the first 5 years, things like that. And you want to have their transition plan as well because they don't want to be working 40 hours a week for 6 months after they sell their business. So just things like that, that really helped me secure the deal.
So interesting. I mean, this is all new to me, right? I've never acquired a firm or looked into it. It's on the cards. And it sounds like it's not as easy as here's a check with a lot of zeros and it's a yes or no decision from the owner selling. I guess they're
No,
probably
yeah.
treating it very much like it's their baby, right? And they want to make sure the kid grows up and has a nice life after because they raised it to whatever stage.
Oh yeah, definitely. I would say 90% of owners, they want to sell to a EA or a CPA. That's the biggest thing in my head is like they need to see your experience in the industry. And for you do have a lot of experience in the industry because you're specifically servicing, accounting firms. So I think you have a unique background where it could be very beneficial for you.
Interesting. And just remind me, did you secure your EA license before the sale was secured?
No, so I had promised that
That was part of
by
the deal.
yeah, so that was part of the deal. Like maybe like 2 weeks after the deal closed, then I got my license. But like that was on the horizon.
Okay. So you got the firm now. You've been in it. You've been working around, doing some different things. You're telling me right before the recording, you guys have your future planning for 2026. You've identified a lot of um, increased revenue opportunities, which is so cool. Love to hear
Yeah.
that. Two sides of a coin here for this question. What are you most excited about over the next 12 months for this new journey?
Man, I've always wanted to scale my firm, like double a firm in 12 months, the revenue. So I'm very, very excited to take our revenue to new heights that it's never seen before. And, I'm working with you guys and I'm working with possibly, an organic content firm uh, to increase sales for the next 6 months or so. So I'm very excited to scale, but also keep that individual touch per client. So as we scale, I definitely want to keep the keep our services very very good for our clients
Yeah, I
and
love that.
not diversify a lot and stuff like that. So
That's so cool. Okay, flip side of the coin, what are you most nervous about?
I'm most nervous about I guess it's so the way we have our firm structured right now is the seller note is kind of complicated. So the old owner is still in the business, and so he gets 25% of net profits. So I basically did a partial buy-in into the business, and so cash flow is a little tight in the beginning right now. And so now that I've invested into your service and I'm investing into other services as well, it can be a few tight months in the new year. So I'm pretty nervous about, if things don't work out with your firm and if things don't work out with the other firm, then like where do we go from there? So I guess just taking the risk is the biggest thing that I'm nervous for. But I think it's a necessary thing to grow the business. Like you come to a point where you either take the risk or you don't, and you either grow or you don't. And so like this is the turning point that for our business where we're investing in all these different things, and if they don't work out, then we're kind of screwed. But if one of them does and one of them doesn't, then we'll break even. But then if both of them work out, we're we're off to the races.
Yeah, that's amazing, dude. It's a real pivotable moment right now in the firm, which is super exciting for you. And I one of the things that I found really inspiring from our first conversation was just like how much of an action taker you are. And I'm really excited, obviously, to be working with you and your team, and then to see the different levels that you're going to scale to, because um, there's hard work, and then there's people who just like won't take no for an answer. And I see both of those in you and
I
speaking with you. So
appreciate that.
I'm pumped to see it. It's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the experience you're going to bring from some of these failed businesses in the past. And as I say that, failed, it sounds aggressive and so negative, but I like to look at that as you have all this extra experience that you've learned from. So like you're actually more armored going into this because you've been through the trenches already. So you failed, air quote, some businesses in the past. But again, a lot of people have never even started a business. So like, well, I've never failed anything. Cool. You never started it. So whatever, you failed, you've learned a lot, and you're going to keep moving forward. How do those failures show up in how you're going to operate this new firm, especially when it comes to resilience in decision making?
Yeah, I think I've been resilient all my life. It's just been in me from a very young age. I've seen it in myself through all the different experiences in my life. And I always go back to the quote, like failure is a stepping stone for success. And I fully, fully believe that. And I've learned things along the way, like, how to pivot, things like that. I'm a very um, driven individual, but I also know how to pivot when it's time to pivot. So those failed businesses have all led me to here. And even though they failed, I've learned things, from them. So from the marketing agency, I've learned so much of what Alex Hormozy does. Um, I really, listen to all of his advice, and I'm going to implement that for this accounting firm. And so I think it's going to be a great investment for the future.
I'm excited for you, man. That's so cool. And I love that you've been, and I don't know the exact stat, but what do they say? Like how many, what's the percentage of how many people the first business they start fails, and that's not the business they're with forever? Like it's
Oh
just
yeah, I think it's like 90 to 95%.
yeah, like the first one, it's almost like, all right, you're going to go in, you're going to get cut, you're going to get, bruised, and then you're going to learn, and you're just going to keep leveling up. And I mentioned it on some past episodes, but it would make for a really boring movie and story if the main character didn't face any adversity. If you just showed
Hmm.
up to the theater and the main character, everything went right and it just worked out in the end, like you're probably not going to rewatch it, but you want to see that adversity, you want to see the hardship. So
Yeah, it's
I
all about
love that you've
developing
already,
your character arc.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love that you've already gone through some of that stuff, and now you're bringing it into a new firm, a new chapter. And I think you're going to be set up for so much more success with that. Um, your firm on value-based pricing and three-tier packages. Why is that a non-negotiable for you, and how do you intend to sell it when a client wants to negotiate it down?
Yeah, I think being really structured in your pricing, and you want to attract A tier clients. That is the type of client that you want to serve. You don't want to serve D tier clients who want the lowest pricing. Um, I think that it's very important to have the three tiers because you have different choices for your client. And if you would never know that they would be interested in a higher package if you only gave them one price. And that's the biggest thing. It's like you never know. All you have to do is ask, and you can ask in the way of three tiers. And so you might be surprised by how many clients, choose the middle package or the higher tier package. And so there'll just be a few, but a few can make a lot of difference. So going back to the time-based pricing it is the old way of doing things, and a lot of legacy firms do still have it around. But I think we can all agree as accounting firm owners, like, value-based pricing, that is the here and now, and three-tiered pricing, we can all move to that to become more profitable as firm owners.
I agree. There's a counter argument I'll make from previous sales coaches who would argue the 3-tier pricing, that when you get on a call, you obviously want to find, are we a good fit to work with? Are both parties a good fit to work with one another?
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to remove as much of the decision-making process as possible. So you can make the argument that with 3-tier pricing, not only do they have to make the decision, do they want to work with you? Now, which package do they want? On the flip side of things, human psychology also shows that you have that 6-figure offer, the elite package, that could be, 4 or 5x more expensive than your middle offer, which is the most popular one that everyone will go for because now there's a huge price anchor. And then you have the essential package. Not a lot of people want to take the lowest one, even if it's just like out of ego. They're like, oh, I don't want the cheapest one or the lowest one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need this really expensive one, so I'm going to take the middle. And that's the one you wanted them to take to begin with. So I can see both sides of it, but I really do like the 3-tiered system as long as it's framed properly while on the call and you're still the expert going, look, I don't feel based off where you're at, this elite package makes the most sense for you right now. And based on the goals you discussed that you want to achieve, our essential program is not going to get you there in the time frame you want. So I would recommend, our core offer right here in the middle. And I think as long as you're the expert still driving where they should be going, then that 3-tier system works. But if you're like, here's our 3 options, you pick from the menu which one you think works best, now you're no longer the expert in the room.
Yeah, I totally agree. And to that first point, I think putting the 3 tiers in front of them first is not the right move. I think putting an intro offer, like a flat fee priced intro offer. So we do a lot of cleanup bookkeeping for their prior years to make sure their books are, in line with what we want to see. And so we do, an intro offer of cleanup bookkeeping for 2024, 2025, whatever the year. And so that's our intro offer to be like, okay, this is the flat fee. And then after that, we'll come in with the 3 tiers after we've looked at their books and we know, how complex the client is.
I like that. And now you're also you're the expert in the room and you're building that authority because now you're also building off of a solid foundation. You're not trying to build a house off of, a couple 2x4s that's on unsturdy ground. Bad analogy. I'm not a construction guy, but you get the point. So cool. That I like the 3-tier pricing model, and more firms should go to that. And again, Nick, to your point, if you don't have that wild 6-figure offer, whatever that is, like the dream offer that you're like, if I had 5 clients at this, I'm set. If you don't have that to put in front of someone, no one ever knows it exists and they can't say yes to it.
Right.
Exactly. I think that's so important. So you want to build the premier AI powered virtual tax firm. What role do you see AI playing in your growth, and how are you actually using it right now in your systems?
Yeah, so we use a lot of AI powered software. We like we like Carbon. We love Carbon. We love Anchor. We love Ramp. We love all of those types of software. And I've looked at Digits a few times, and that's AI powered bookkeeping. And so we might transition to that later on in 2026, but not just yet. I think AI agents for accounting and tax firms do have a ways to go. I would love to, implement them into our firm maybe late 2026 when they're a little bit more developed. But right now, from what I've seen, AI agents aren't the best for tax and accounting firms just because it is a niche industry, and they're better for, I guess, like emails and calendars, things like that, more general type of stuff. But once they get niched down for AI agents, I think there's a lot of value in it because you can replace your administrative people, you can possibly replace your bookkeepers. People have mixed views on that, but later in 2027 it could be possible of like you don't need a bookkeeper anymore, And that's kind of scary to think about. Like bookkeepers could become obsolete in a sense, but I think it's the way the world's moving with AI agents and all of these different AI apps starting.
Yeah. Now, AI agents, they still, to a certain degree, need to be managed. You need to keep tweaking them. They're not just perfect. They're only as great as the prompts you put in it. You know that. And then also, there's still the relationship aspect. And this has been a very common theme on the last handful of episodes. AI can do a lot of stuff, but it's never going to replace us having this conversation. It's never going to replace the conversations you have with your clients when they go to you and they're, can you explain to me what's going on this financial, like why am I bleeding money? Or Nick, it's been so great working with you for the last year because no one has ever proactively called me about our accounting. We've only heard from them when our tax bill is due. AI maybe way down the road will fully replace that. But I think to a certain degree, it's not going to move as fast and take over as much of the industry as some may think. And a recent guest and client of ours, Michael Lee, brought this up on a past episode, and I think he's spot on with that. I think so many people are consumed by the buzzword AI, and it's not going to just like completely eat up everyone's jobs, and it's not going to
No,
happen
yeah.
overnight.
No, it won't. It definitely won't. I think it's more so the back end work that could be eaten up, but they could never replace the client relationships that we have
Yeah,
in the firm. So yeah.
100%. So tell me, what advice do you have for someone thinking of buying a firm, especially if they're not a CPA or have a non-traditional background like you? And this is a little bit biased because I'm like, I really want to hear what your answer is on this because I'm very curious myself.
Yeah, I think, I mean, we've all heard, I don't know if we've all heard, but 10,000 baby boomers right now are retiring every single day for the next 5 to 7 years. So you have that 5 to 7 year time period of where you have to act. And right now is the perfect time to act. And so I think I have a very unique story to where I didn't have a CPA, EA, or any experience in the industry. And looking back on it, who knows if I would have done the same thing. I think I was very, very lucky in finding this firm. And I think, someone pointed out to me the other day of like, you might be the youngest tax and accounting firm owner in the US. And I'm like, really? I don't know. I mean, maybe you could speak on that, James, because you know a lot more tax and accounting firm owners. But I'm 20, I'm 23, just turned 23. So I could be the youngest one, and like just get out there, just go and do it. And if you have experience in the industry, that's so much better than not having experience in the industry.
I love that, man. That's so cool. One sec. Just want to make sure we're still good here.
Yeah, your
We're seeing the
camera's a
video.
little. I think your
Cool.
camera. There we go.
All right. So, I mean, 23, dude, that's incredible. I was not buying accounting firms at 23, so I'm pumped for you. What is the first step someone needs to go and take? They're looking to buy a firm. Like,
Yeah. So
where do they
there's
even like number one thing to do?
yeah. So there's sites called Biz Buy Sell, and there's sites called Biz Scout, and there's what's another one? Like SMB marketplace, things of that nature. So I found my deal on market. You can definitely find your deal off market. You can cold email, you can cold call people in your area. There's lots of, I mean, every accounting firm owner that we know is basically 50, 60, or 70 years old. So they're all looking to retire in the next 5 to 10 years. And it's an aging industry. But even if you don't want to do, the accounting industry, there are other industries where people are retiring every single day. And so those three sites will help you with the on market deals. But if you're researching off market, then Google, that always helps. And just researching very personalized things. So like how old is the owner, and then maybe going into their place of business, maybe just cold calling, things of that nature. So yeah,
That's
I think that
awesome.
would be the first step.
That's so cool. Nick, last question for you, man. Really appreciate how much time you've given to this recording today. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Ooh, that's a good one. Um, I think it's stay small enough long enough until you're big enough soon enough. So it goes back to living below your means. And I guess it can apply in business of like reinvest and reinvest and reinvest, and don't spend it on those. Don't spend your money on those fancy cars until you're big enough, and then you'll be big enough soon enough. So once you start making that first bit of money, it's very, very important to reinvest in the business. I think that's the biggest piece of advice I could give someone, and that's what I'm gonna do with my money. I'm gonna go out and buy more accounting firms and increase my multiple by a lot. So that's just that's the best advice I've ever received. Stay small enough long enough until you're big enough soon enough.
Love it. That's so cool. Nik, how can people get in touch with you? How can they continue the conversation if they want to reach out?
Yeah, so I am posting every single day on Instagram. So it's nikwatson.biz, nikwatson.biz. That's how they can get in contact with me. You can just DM me if you wanna chat. Hear about my story. I can hear about your story. I can help you. Things of that nature. But I'm documenting all of my days. So I'm doing a day 1, day 2, day 3 of running the accounting firm. So
amazing.
You can see the behind the scenes there.
Amazing. What day are you on?
I am on. Well, technically, I'm on month 2, but technically on the Instagram I'm on day 22 or 23.
Okay. So pretty consistent then for recording it every day. That's amazing. Awesome, dude. Nik, thank you so much for coming on, sharing all of your insights, sharing your knowledge. I'm so pumped, man, to see what is to come for you in the coming months. I'm gonna be cheering you on as we partner up and run some new campaigns for you, but
looking
also
forward to it, yeah.
Really cheering on from the sidelines as well with different growth. So again, thank you so much for coming on, dude. This was amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of CFO Chronicles, the secrets behind success. I hope you found value in today's conversation. As we wrap up, I'd love for you to do 2 things. First, make sure to subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. If you enjoyed today's discussion, please rate and review the show. It helps others discover the insights we share here. Second, if you're ready to take your business to the next level and attract the high-end clients you deserve, head over to accountingleadsnow.com or click the link in the show notes to book your strategy call. It's time to position yourself as the advisor your clients need. And don't forget, you can connect with me on LinkedIn to stay up to date on what's happening in the world of accounting and financial growth. We've got exciting topics coming up, so stay tuned for the next episode of CFO Chronicles. Until then, keep pushing forward. Your growth is just one strategic move away.
Thanks for listening to CFO Chronicles, the secrets behind success. We hope today's episode provided valuable strategies to help you attract more high-paying clients. Be sure to subscribe, follow, and share with fellow professionals. Connect with us on LinkedIn and leave a review or comment to join the conversation. Your feedback helps us bring you the best insights in finance and marketing. Until next time, keep striving for success and unlocking your business's potential.